Hey guys, and welcome to a new manga review video. In this video, I'm going to review Saigami by Hungarian artist and writer Andrea Varos. She's one of the flagship titles on Saturday AM, just like White Manga with his Apple Black. And as I did with Apple Black, I'm going to rate her art and story from 1 to 5 and then combine both scores for a full rating, which would be from 1 to 10. Now, I want to start with the summary of the book, the first volume, and it goes like this. Hanasaki Ayumi can't quite find her place in the world, with every day being one of emptiness and loneliness. But on the day she receives a mysterious letter, everything changes. Finding herself in a frightening new world full of unexpected adventures and fanciful creatures, she joins in the journey of the two adventure-seeking young men. Hoping that she'll find a way home, Ayumi soon realizes that the more time she spends in this strange new world, the more she gets tangled up within it and the greatest question of all. Who is she and where does she belong? So that's the summary of the book. Now I will start with the art. The art was very consistent throughout the book, though you can at least see where her strengths are and where some of her weaknesses are. Her strength to me would have to be in her backgrounds. Some of her backgrounds and environments are quite detailed. Different line weights to emphasize levels of importance. It's all very well thought out and carefully done. And you can definitely tell she took most of her time on these 2-page spreads of different locations, introducing to the reader. In terms of character design, I think compared to her environments, they are a bit weak. Though because of the fantasy element of the story and the strength I found in her backgrounds, it counters any weakness in the characters. The characters steadily get better as the story progresses, as they are drawn more in action poses, but I feel when she tries to do foreshortening or any type of dynamic poses, there is a visible limit to what she can do. But I feel that Andrea will get better at this aspect of drawing her characters as time goes on. Now with the story, I was kinda on the fence about the story. There was some elements that I liked, while there were some that I didn't. The Saigami backstory history, pretty much the lore of the world itself, had a level of mystery which I hope Andrea will really take advantage of, as it played with the mythology of the world, which is something in stories that I really admire and interests me a lot. I'm really big on lore, and it was very interesting the way she set it up. The side characters, Sean and Reggie, these are pretty much side characters that join Ayumi on her adventure, were interesting in terms of what was presented so far. Sean, for one, was my favorite character who had an interesting premise. He is from a family of dragon tamers who control and raise dragons and who fight with them and everything like that. Reggie, even though there wasn't much about him in terms of backstory, he had this level of mystery about him that Andrea is keeping away from us, which makes Reggie very interesting. The only weak part of this, I felt, was actually the main character, the protagonist, Yumi. She was kind of weak as a character. First, there isn't much sense of where her character was before she entered the fantasy world of Saigami. Only about 3 pages or so, but quick montages or small glimpses of her life before. For example, there seems to be an obvious relationship problem with her mother, but it isn't really explained. I felt the story in the beginning was too rushed, and I couldn't get a good idea of who Ayami was. From what I understood, at least from what I've read and what was presented in the story, she was pretty much your typical social outcast. But it doesn't go further than that. Once she entered the fantasy world, I felt her character was being dragged too much along the story, where she simply accepted everything that other characters told her with a funny face. For example, when she first meets Sean, she quickly trusts him and goes to his village, witnesses a dragon 10 times her size, and instead of running away as any normal person would do, she replies with, "Are you vegetarian?" In an attempt to create a comedic moment, it falls short on disbelief. That part of the story kind of felt weird. The moment she accepts the fact she is really a Saigami is supposed to be an amazing scene, but quickly falls short because she hardly has a clue of what a Saigami really is. So, to end this review, I felt that Saigami has an interesting premise. Though I felt the story in the beginning was a bit too rushed, and characters were kind of weak in terms of characterization, her art more or less makes up for it, especially in her environmental designs that grab you and keeps you hooked in the story. For the art, I gave her a 4, and for the story, a 3.5. Together, I give Saigami a 7.5 out of 10. Thank you.